There's an ancient secret that separates people who just learn from people who truly master things. And today you'll find out why most people never get past the beginner level in anything they try in life. Have you ever noticed how some people master any subject they decide to learn? They learn to play an instrument in months. They master a new language in a year. They build businesses from nothing, while others spend forever trying to figure things out. And you know what many people think? Oh, these people are talented. This guy was born with a gift for this task. You've probably heard someone say this kind of thing. Many people use this excuse to stop trying. Some people think I don't have a gift, so it's impossible for me to master this subject. And that's the biggest lie anyone can tell themselves. Now, do you know what people who master anything in a short time have in common? What they have is something that you were never taught in school, in college, in any online course you've ever bought. In old Japan, there was a system of training helpers that was so powerful it turned regular farmers into deadly warriors, average workers into experts whose work lasted for centuries. This system had nothing to do with being smart or having natural talent. It had everything to do with understanding the 3 hidden steps that separate the beginner from the master. They called this system Shuhari. And when you understand how it works, you stop being that person who starts 1,000 things and finishes none. You become someone who masters what they want when they want. But it comes at a price. Learning this system will require you to accept something your ego will hate to hear. Before I show you this complete system, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like it below, and tell me in the comments, what skill do you most want to master in your life? Guitar, programming, a new language? Feel free to comment. I love reading and talking with you in the comments. Now back to the video. Chapter 1, The Lost Apprentice. The story I'm about to tell you took place in old Japan. A young man named Yamato had a dream that filled his every thought: to become a samurai. He wasn't born into a samurai family. He had no family history, no name, nothing but an obsession that burned inside him like fire. While other village boys accepted their lives as farmers and shopkeepers, Yamato spent hours watching the samurai as they passed by on the road. The way they moved, the control in their eyes, the respect they got without saying a word. He wanted this more than. He wanted to breathe. At 16, Yamato picked up a wooden sword and began training alone. He woke before sunrise and practiced the moves he'd seen the samurai do. Side strikes, up and down strikes, pokes, hours and hours every day. 6 months later, he hadn't gotten better at all. His movements felt wrong. His body wasn't moving the way he pictured. The sword felt too heavy, too awkward. The more he practiced, the more upset he became. He tried to study battle plans by reading old books about famous fights. He memorized the names of all the basic moves. He learned about Bushido, the samurai code of honor. He had plenty of knowledge, but when he picked up the sword, it was as if all that knowledge disappeared. A whole year passed. Yamato remained just a village boy with a wooden sword and an impossible dream until the day everything changed. Chapter 2, The Meeting. One afternoon, Yamato was practicing near the forest when he heard a voice behind him. Your feet are wrong. Your posture is wrong. Your breathing is wrong. Everything you're doing is wrong. He turned and saw an older man, gray hair tied back, deep scars on his face, and 2 swords at his waist. A true samurai. Yamato felt shame burn his face. I'm trying to learn on my own, sir. I have no teacher. The samurai walked around him, looking closely. How long have you been practicing? 1 year, sir. And did anything improve? Silence. The answer was clear. The samurai took the wooden sword from Yamato's hand. You know what your problem is. You think you're training, but what you're doing is making mistakes stick. Every wrong try is teaching your body how to fail better. Those words hurt more than any sword. Yamato had spent a whole year getting worse. Sir, Yamato said, his voice breaking. How do I do it right then? I've read every book I can find. I've studied the plans. I've memorized the moves. That's exactly your problem. The samurai cut in. You try to build a castle, starting from the roof. You studied plans before mastering posture. You tried to change things before copying. You skipped the only thing that matters, the path. The samurai looked Yamato right in the eye. There's a path to mastery that is 3 steps. You must go through each. 1. You cannot skip. You cannot rush. If you try, you will spend your entire life being average in everything you touch. And what is that path? Yamato asked. Shuhari, the samurai answered. Shu, obey. Ha, break. Re, let go. 3 steps, 1 goal. True mastery. Yamato was amazed. Please teach me. The samurai was quiet for a long time. Then he nodded. Tomorrow at dawn. And get ready, because the first step will destroy everything you think you know about learning. Chapter 3. Shu, the death of the ego. Dawn arrived. Yamato was waiting when the samurai appeared in the clearing. Today begins Shu, the master said. At this step, you don't think, you don't question, you don't make up your own way. You obey, you copy, you repeat exactly as I show. You, not even a tiny change. The samurai took a stance. Stay like this. Yamato copied it. The master moved his foot 2 centimeters to the left. He moved his hip a tiny bit. He raised his shoulder a little. Now breathe. 3 seconds in through your nose. 2 seconds hold it. For seconds out through your mouth. They stayed in that position for 10 minutes just breathing. Yamato's legs burned. His mind yelled that this was a waste of time. Master, he finally said, when are we going to practice real strikes? The samurai turned his head slowly. You think posture is boring? You think breathing is a waste of time? That's why you'll never be a samurai. A true warrior knows that mastery is built in tiny steps, not big ones. Yamato swallowed his words. Shu isn't about being fun. The master went on. It's about obeying until your body knows what your mind can't yet. Every move you'll learn in the years to come depends on this posture, this breathing, these basic things you think are boring. Weeks passed. Breathing, basic movements repeated 1,000 times. No fancy stuff, no hard moves, just the basics over and over. Yamato's mind fought this every day. This is too slow. I could be learning real moves. This is a waste of time. But something was changing, something he couldn't see, but could feel. His movements began to flow without trying. The posture that had hurt before now felt natural. The breathing he had to force now happened by itself. One day, 3 months later, the master showed a basic side strike. 1,000 times, he said, exactly as I did it. Not faster, not slower, not harder, the same. Yamato spent the whole week practicing that one strike. 1,000 times a day. On the 4th day, something amazing happened. He was in the middle of strike. Number 400 when his body did the move perfectly, without thinking, as if the sword knew the way on. Its own. Did you feel it? The master asked, watching from far away. Yamato nodded, unable to speak. This is Shu. When the move goes into your body so deep that the mind no longer needs the help. But most people never get here because they think repeating is for weak people. They think they are too smart to practice the basics 1,000 times. A brain scientist at the University of Tokyo who has studied body learning for 18 years found something new. When you repeat a move 300 to 500 times, brain cells in the back part of your brain start to make an automatic pattern. After 1,000 right repeats, the pattern becomes automatic. The skill moves from your thinking brain to your brain's auto system. But if you change the move before 300 repeats, the pattern never forms. You stay forever in thinking mode, which is slow, tiring, and full of mistakes. Chapter 4. The Eternal Student Trap. 6 months of Shu passed. Yamato now knew 12 basic moves so well that he could do them in his sleep. Really, one night, his master woke him up by surprise and asked him to do the up and down strike. Yamato's body did it perfectly, but Yamato started to notice something that bothered him. He saw other fighters, some even with more training time, who knew hundreds of moves. They knew every kata. They could name every old master. But when he watched them in real fights, something was missing. They knew the moves, but the moves did not live in them. Master, Yamato asked one morning, why do some warriors know so many moves, but fight worse than me, who only knows 12? The samurai smiled, for the first time in months. Finally, you asked the right question. These warriors live in what I call the eternal student trap. They collect moves like kids collect toys. They learn something new before mastering the last one. They read about 1,000 plans, but never make one their own. They mix up knowing with mastering. But knowing is just having the map. Mastering is walking the land. So many times that you no longer need the map. The master walked to a tree. Shu gave you the strong base. You obeyed without question. You didn't change things. You just repeated until the moves became part of you. And now, he paused. Now you are ready to break. Yamato frowned. Break? Break what? Everything I taught you. Chapter 5. Ha! The dangerous freedom. In the Shu step, you became a perfect copy of me. The master explained. You do exactly what I do, the way I do it. That gave you the base. But if you stop there, you'll never be a true warrior. You'll just be my shadow. The samurai drew a circle on the ground. Shu is a circle. These are the rules I put on you. Now comes the ha step where you break the circle. But be careful. Most people mix up ha with rebelling. They break the rules not because they mastered them, but because they are too lazy to master them. Ha is not about throwing away what you've learned. It's about understanding the reason behind each move so deeply that you can start to change them. You can mix them. You can adjust them. But it only works if Shu is finished. That afternoon, for the first time in 6 months, the master brought another teacher to the clearing. A warrior from a different school with a totally different style. For the next year, the master said, you will train with him, too. You will learn moves that go against everything I've taught you. His stance is different. His strikes are different. His way of thinking is different. Yamato was confused. But if I learn another style, won't it ruin everything you taught me? If Shu wasn't deep enough, yes, it will ruin everything, and you will become an average fighter with no style of your own. But if Shu was complete and it was, you will do something amazing. You'll start to see the big ideas that are under all styles. And so began the hot training. Yamato spent his mornings with his first master, his afternoons with his second teacher. The styles were so different that at first his mind got mixed up trying to switch between them. The first master taught low stance, simple moves, and waiting patiently. The second master taught high stance, fast moves, and strong attacks. Everything went against each other. But after 3 months, something started to happen. Yamato began to see that under the outside differences, both masters were teaching the same thing: how to move energy through the body the best way, how to read the other fighter, how to be right there in the moment. The moves were different. The big ideas were the same. You're starting to see, his first master said when he noticed a change in Yamato's eyes. Shu taught you the shapes. Ha is teaching you the big ideas. When you understand the big ideas, the shapes become tools, not traps. A year in the Ha step totally changed Yamato's fighting style. He was no longer a perfect copy of either master. He had started mixing moves in ways neither of them had. One morning during training, Yamato blocked an attack using the first master's stance, but hit back with the second's fast attack. The move was so smooth, so easy that he didn't even know he'd made something new until he saw the looks on the two teachers' faces. What was that? The second master asked. I don't know. It just felt right. The two masters looked at each other and smiled. Ha is complete, the first master said. You are no longer just obeying, but you are not breaking rules to rebel either. You are changing things the smart way. You understand the reasons. But then the master said something Yamato didn't expect. And this is where 99% of fighters stop. They get to Ha and think they're all ready. Masters, they can change moves. They can mix styles. They can make new versions. And they're proud of it. But Ha is still a trap. You're still stuck with the moves you've learned. Even if you can mix them in fun ways, you become a good artist, but not a true master. There's a third step, the last step. And only one person in 1,000 gets there, because it needs something most people will not do. Forget everything. Chapter 6. Re, the silent freedom. Re is the step where you don't use moves. The master explained. The moves use you. Or, really, there are no more moves. There's only pure reaction to the moment. Yamato frowned. How can I fight without moves? You'll understand, the master said. But first, a story. When I was young like you, I spent 40 years studying the sword. I learned 300 moves. I mastered 12 different styles. I became known as one of the best sword fighters in the area. One day, an old master came to fight me. He must have been 80 years old. He could hardly walk straight. I said yes to the fight, thinking it would be polite. It would be quick. The master stopped, the heavy memory clear on his face. He beat me in 3 moves. And you know what confused me most? He didn't use any moves I knew. It wasn't style A, B, or C. It was nothing and everything at the same time, like water without shape, yet perfectly right for each moment. Then he told me, young man, you fight well. You know many moves, but you are still fighting. I don't fight anymore. I just react. When you attack, my body already knows the answer before my mind thinks it. There is no choice. There is no move, just natural action. Yamato tried to get it. But how do I get to this? Step, time, practice. And most important, you need to stop trying. The next 5 years were the hardest of Yamato's life. The master no longer taught him anything new. He just made Yamato fight every day against different fighters, different styles, different levels. At first, Yamato was still thinking about moves. Now I use the first master's block. Now I mix it with the second master's hit back. His mind was always naming, choosing, picking. But slowly over the years, something started to fade. The names on moves went away. He stopped thinking, now I do move X, and just did it. One day, during a very hard fight, against 3 fighters at once something broke, or really something opened. Yamato didn't remember making any choices during that fight. His body just flowed. He blocked, hit, turned, dodged, all without a single thought. It was like watching someone else fight in his body. When he finished, all 3 fighters were on the ground. Yamato was breathing calmly, easily, and he couldn't remember any special moves he had used. His master was watching from far away, a rare smile on his face. You finally stopped fighting, he said, but I fought 3 people. No, your body did it. There was no you in. They're making choices. There was just pure reaction to the moment. This is Re. You have gone beyond the moves. They are now so deep in you that you don't even know they are there. A researcher at Kyoto University who has studied body thinking for 22 years explains when experts reach the top level of mastery, something cool happens in the brain. Action in the front part of the brain, the part for thinking choices, drops a lot during the action. At the same time, older brain parts take over. The expert is no longer doing the skill. The skill is coming out through him. In the brain, it's as if the person and the skill become one. Chapter 7. The Nameless Master. Years later, Yamato was no longer the village boy with an impossible dream. He had become a respected samurai. But more than that, he had become a master. Young men came from far villages asking to be his students, and they always asked the same question. Master, how many moves do you know? Yamato always said, none at all. This confused the students. They wanted numbers. They wanted lists. They wanted to know exactly what they would learn. But Yamato had learned something that you can only learn after going fully through Shuhari. Moves are just fingers pointing to the moon. Most people are so fixed on their fingers that they never look where they're pointing. One day, a very proud young man challenged him. Master, with all respect, you say you don't know any moves, but my old teacher knows. 500 moves. How can you be better than him? Yamato picked up a wooden sword. Attack me with any of these 500 moves. The young man used his best move, a hard attack he had practiced. For years, Yamato didn't even move much, just a small change in stance, a small change in angle, and the young man was on the ground without his weapon, not knowing how it happened. You used a move against me just now, Yamato explained, helping the young man up. A special move with a name that you've practiced thousands of times. It's good. It works in most cases. But I didn't use any move against you. My body just reacted to your action in the only way that one moment needed. It wasn't move A, B, or C. It was a perfect reaction to that one moment that never happened before and will never happen again. That's the difference between knowing 500 moves and having 0 moves. You're stuck with 500 choices. I have endless choices because I'm not picking from learned moves. I'm making the right answer right then. Chapter 8. The Universal Way. Yamato's story isn't just about swords and samurai. It's about anything you want to master in life. Do you want to learn guitar? Shuhari is the way. Shu! You copy songs note for note exactly as they were played. You don't make up stuff. You don't add your own thing. You just copy until the patterns go into your fingers without thinking. You start to mix parts of different songs, understand music rules, and see the big ideas behind the moves. You pick up the guitar and the music just flows. You're no longer playing music. You have become music. Do you want to master programming? Shuhari. Shu. You copy code from good programmers line by line. You follow set patterns without question. You build strong bases. You start to understand the reason behind each pattern, to mix different ways to change answers. You no longer write code on purpose. You see a problem and the answer comes out through your fingers. Words go away. Only pure thinking stays. Do you want to build a business? Shuhari. Shu. You study and copy business plans at work. You don't try to make a new wheel. You learn from those who already did it. You start to change these plans for your special area. To see big business ideas at work in all areas. You no longer follow plans. You just know what will work as if your body reads the market the way a master reads a fighter. The path is always the same. Shuhari is not an old Japanese idea. It is a plan for how deep learning happens in any area. But there's something no one tells you about Shuhari. Something that's the real reason most people never reach mastery in anything. Chapter 9. The Trap of the Modern Generation. The hard truth is this. Most people today will never see true mastery in anything because they refuse to do Shu. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, I don't like following rules. I like to find my own way. I'm more creative when I do it my way. That sounds good, right? It sounds like being free, like new, thinking like being creative. But it's a lie. It's your ego keeping you from the hard truth. You don't want to find your own path. You want to skip the hard work of mastering someone else's first. Yamato could have said the same thing. Master, why do I need to copy you exactly? Why can't I make my own style from the start? I'm a special person. And if he had done that, he wouldn't have become a samurai. He would have been just another villager who thought he was too special to learn the right way. The modern generation has been told a bad lie that you should skip the basics and go straight to showing yourself. That following a teacher is for people without ideas. That copying is for weak people. And the result? A whole generation of people who know a little about everything and nothing about anything. People who start 47 hobbies and master none. People who say, I tried guitar, but it wasn't for me. when really they just didn't have the patience to do the shoe step. Let me be very honest with you. No extras, no stories, just the real truth. The reason you haven't mastered that skill you say you want isn't a lack of talent. It's not a lack of time. It's not a lack of help. It's because you're trying to start in ha or re without doing shu. You want the results of mastery without doing the work of repeating over and over. You want to play like an expert, but you don't want to spend 6 months playing easy notes. You want to program like a pro, but you don't want to spend a year copying code from better programmers. You want to build an 8-figure business, but you don't want to spend 2 years studying business plans that already worked. You want to skip shu because it's boring, because it's hard to admit you know nothing and have to copy someone else exactly, because our generation was sold a lie that we are special and different and don't need to follow the path every master before us followed. And as long as we believe this lie, we will stay average in everything we touch. The truth that hurts. There is no short way. Never has been, never will be. Zen monks knew this 800 years ago. Samurai knew this 400 years ago. Every true master in any area knows this. There's only one path. Shuhari. So here's what you need to do. Not tomorrow. Not on Monday. Now. First, pick one skill, not 3, not 5. 1. The skill that if you mastered in the next 3 years would change your life completely. Second, find someone who has already mastered this skill. They don't have to be the best in the world. They need to be 10 times better than you. Find that person. If you don't know anyone who can help you in person, look for an expert online, but pick just one to follow. Their lessons. Third, start the shu step with total humility. You will copy this person exactly over and over. No changes, no my way, no ideas of your own, just perfect copying. Will it be boring? Yes. Will it feel like you've lost who you are? Yes. Will other people judge you and say you're like a robot? Yes. Great. That means you're doing it right. Fourth, one shu is done, and you'll know when it's done because the moves will flow without thinking. Then you start ha, study other ways, mix, moves, change them, make new versions, question the reasons. Fifth, keep going for years, not months, years. This isn't a 6-month thing. It's a growing step that can last much longer. Keep practicing, trying new things, putting it all together. 6, one day without knowing it, you'll be in re. You'll do your skill without thinking. You'll make answers you've never seen before. You'll go beyond moves. And on that day, you'll understand that the trip never ends. You'll go back to the basics, but with new eyes. A researcher at Oxford University who has studied how experts grow for 25 years did a study of 500 masters in different areas: music, sports, programming, fighting, business. The result was the same for all. Every world-class expert we studied followed the same 3-step pattern. First, a time of exact copying that lasted 1 to 3 years. Second, a time of trying and mixing that lasted 3 to 7 years. Third, a time of gut feeling and new ideas that shows true mastery. We found not a single one who skipped the first step, even those called natural experts. The difference was only the speed they went through each step, never the order. Chapter 10. Yamato's Legacy. Yamato lived to be 87. He trained hundreds of students during his life. And on his last day, when he was around his best, students, one of them asked, "Master, what was your biggest regret on your trip?" Yamato thought for a long time. Then he said, "My only regret is not starting shu sooner. I wasted a whole year trying to teach myself, thinking I was smart enough to find a better way. If I had started with a master from day one, I would have mastered the sword a year sooner. An extra year of mastery is a treasure no gold can buy. To all of you," he went on, looking each student in the eye, "don't make my mistake. If you want to master something, find someone who has already mastered it and copy that person without Shame, without ego, without rushing to add your own thing. Mastery isn't about being new from day one. It's about getting so good that being new happens by itself. These were his last words about the path. And 3 days later, he died peacefully, knowing he had passed on the most important lesson he ever got. The path doesn't end. It just changes. And here's something very few people know. You think Shuhari is about learning skills, but it's not. Shuhari is about who you become while learning. The person you are today, not patient, jumping from one thing to another, wanting results without work. That person will never see true mastery. But there's another you, a you that has the patience to copy perfectly, that has the humility to say it knows nothing, that has the self-control to practice the same thing 1,000 times, that has the wisdom to know that the long road is the fast road. This you already exists, waiting for you to stop looking for short ways, waiting for you to take the only path that works. Shuhari isn't just an old Japanese learning way. It's a mirror, and what you see in that mirror tells you everything about who you'll be in 5 years. Do you see someone ready to start as a total beginner without ego, without rushing? Or do you see someone still looking for the trick, the short way, the way to skip the work? Because only one of these people will truly master something, and you know which one it is. The question is not, does the Shuhari system work? The question is, are you ready to pay the price that mastery needs? Yamado was just a village boy, no special talent, no rich family, no advantages. The only thing he had was a willingness to obey fully before asking, to copy perfectly before changing, to master the basics before go to hard things. And this changed him from a nobody into a master whose name was remembered for centuries. You have the same choice he had. The same path is open to you. Do you want to spend the next 5 years trying to find a better way that doesn't exist, and 5 years from now be exactly where you are today, knowing a little about a lot of things and nothing about anything? Or would you rather pay the price of mastery and become great at whatever you choose? Mastery is waiting, but it won't come to you. You have to walk to it step by step, repeat by repeat. Shu, then ha, then ri. The path is ancient. The path is proven. The path works. If this video gave you new lessons about learning and mastery, I invite you again to subscribe to the channel now and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, what's one skill you'll master using Shuhari? Write it down below. Also, I have another invite for you. If you like content about mind and deep thinking, I'll leave the link to my new channel in the video description, where I'm putting content on these topics. It's still a very small channel, but I'm working hard to bring good stuff there too. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for your time. You're one of the few who really want to learn, and that already sets you apart from 99% of people. Now go and start. Do Shu, and years from now you'll look back and won't believe you were the same person. Until the next video, and happy trip on your change.